Everybody made it to Vegas. Bruiser and the Spirit Squad here to cheer on the Baylor Bears, and Dave Aranda joining us now as we take a look back at last season with Baylor, going 3-9 last year, and you changed some things. You're going to take over defensive play calling. Last time you did that, you won a national championship at LSU. In a time where most coaches are saying, I need less on my plate, why did you make this decision?
I think we need to do it to win. I think I'm at my best when I'm fully invested, and we got to get it right, and it matters, and we're here to win. And I think that part of me comes out when I'm in all the details with football. I try to do it kind of being removed, and I think I'm one that has to get dirty with all of it, and so that's what we're doing.
Have you had a chance to iron out the play calling aspect of it with the new technology that's going into college football with the headset and the iPad, the pads on the sideline and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and we've been studying that quite a bit. In the offseason, we were able to do that in the spring, and I thought it's such a benefit. I think, one of the advantages back then, 2019 and previous, was the sideline adjustments. Is that, hey, stuff's going on, what's happening from the upstairs to down below, and you write it and you draw it, you make the correction. And how fast can you make the correction? Is that the next series, right? I think on average, usually some people don't make corrections, and then if they do make corrections, 2-3 series down. I always thought that was a strength. Well, the playing field's kind of even now when they can all see it on the video, And so I think it's just, that is a huge game changer for college coaches. And so I think to practice that and to get that to where it's an advantage for us was a pivotal thing for spring.
Awesome.
Coach, while we're on the defensive side of the ball, I want to talk about your All-American corner. Caden Jenkins, All-American as a freshman. What has he done this offseason to improve himself? What can we expect this year?
He's continued to push himself and demand more of himself. And I think there's a level of maturity that has to happen for the play to increase. I think when you start off, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and your ability takes over, and you're in a spot, and you can make a play, and there's momentum that comes with it. But when you're targeted as that guy, and you have to walk around as that guy, then you need to have the performance standards of that guy. And that's hard to do day in, day out, and he's done that.
You got a lot of talent in the quarterback room. You haven't made a decision yet on who's going to be your starter. You have some guys that transferred in, Sawyer Robertson, who is still there from last year. What will it come down to by the time fall camp comes around, and what are you looking for?
I thought when we started spring, and we go with football in the very beginning of January, and so that was a big emphasis too. Difference from this year to last year was ball being at the very forefront of it. And so even with that being said, we get to spring, and you could see the growth in the quarterbacks and the improvement. And towards the end, man, I'm wishing we had 2 more weeks. Could we have 2 more weeks of spring ball? I think we would get this wrapped up. And so we didn't. And so we're now continuing into fall camp, and I'm hopeful by the middle part of fall camp we'll have an idea of who it is. But I think some of it is growth off the field. I think the other part is the making plays when the plays aren't there, right? Getting us in the best situations, right? Navigating a negative play. How are you right after that? I think all those things tie into it.
Talk about who's going to be working with those quarterbacks and some changes you've made on that side of the ball.
Yeah, Jake Spavital has come in, and there's been energy with him. There's been, I think in the past sometimes when you get it to where an offense or a defense is so black and white, for dudes to play fast and play green, it's hard to be either or. And I think what Jake gives us is the ability to have choice routes. And I know there's some you're familiar with. If someone's low, you go high. If someone's high, you sit it down. If someone's out, you go in. And it's really kind of maximizing the gray and getting comfortable with those looks. And I think to have the sync with that in the quarterback can be scary stuff. And you double time that with tempo, and then now you're talking, And I think the kids for sure see that. And, he's continued to add to it and wrinkles. And I know defending all of it in the spring was a pain in the butt. And so I'm looking forward to kind of unleashing that on other people.
I'm having flashbacks to John Jenkins say, hey, we don't have any predetermined routes.
I love it. Coach, the Big 12 has kind of morphed over the last decade. It went from this pass-happy, high-flying, we're going to score 65 points a game to this physical conference where we run the football football. We're going to play good defense. How do you feel about your offensive and defensive lines going into fall?
That's a good question. I think that's probably the biggest question for us. I know you look at us from the outside, I can see there being a lot of questions. I think that's the biggest one. And I think offensive line-wise, we really hit the portal hard. We were able to develop, we had a bunch of young guys playing. And I think they were playing because I failed to hit the portal hard previous. And so they were put in a position where they had to play. And so I think you get a chip on their shoulder with those guys that were probably playing too early. And my fault for that. And then we bring in some guys that are really sought after transfer guys that have worked their way in and are leaders now on the team. And so there is a chip on the shoulder with that group. When you see them, they're probably, pissed off right now, right? They're somewhere angry right now. So that's good. Yeah, so that's a positive thing. Right. And then I think defensively, that's coming too. I think we had a bunch of young guys that played. We just took a transfer or a JC player committed to us a couple days ago. They're going to come on. So we're continuing to build the depth with it. I think to have a first and second and possible third team that can rotate, you need it in this league. Every game is going to be a fourth quarter game, and you're going to need those guys to be able to make plays, but especially late in the season.
In the changing landscape of college athletics, and you've changed your opinion on the transfer portal since this has become a thing over the last couple years. When you sat back after last season, what did you say to yourself to say, this is what we need to do? These need to be the pillars of my team, of what I believed in when I first got here, and what we need to do to get back in the win column?
I think we need to win, and I think we have to be able to make that the emphasis, and I think, if anything, I think partly for me, when I was at LSU and Wisconsin, it was just so much about ball. I just got so, almost like a machine with it, really, and probably wasn't father and husband and even like relational, maybe friends, just ball. And so to come to Baylor, there's been a lot of growth in that aspect of it, right? But I think I went too far with it. And so to bring it back to where there's a balance and where football is really important and we're here to win games and it's important to win games and that's going to be our emphasis from the start. I think it's just that, and then me being involved with it, just the energy that comes with that, I think the guys can feel. And so excited for it.
I know you like to decompress with a good book. What are you reading these days?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a book called King. I've been reading about Martin Luther King that talks about just his journey and kind of his growth from childhood all the way to adulthood. Then Ali would be another book I've been reading that kind of goes the same thing. And I think to hear those stories and to hear them, the third one I would do would be Captain. That's about Derek Jeter. Okay. And so what I like about all three of those is it shows like the human side of it. It's like with Jeter, it just shows like how hard it was. You have a bad game and he has to walk out of the Yankee Stadium and there's people waiting for his autograph and everything, and he would take time to visit with everybody and talk to them and shake their hand and everything else. And there's other people in the Yankees that did not do that right after bad games. And it's just, I think that what's part and parcel about great people, or what's great about our sport, our platform, is that we can make those choices and do what Derek Jeter did. So it's good to read about that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are excited to see you out there on the field this year. Baylor, the town of Waco is always like, we sit here talking about like the foodie places to go. Waco has become a foodie place and one of our favorite places to visit. So appreciate the time. Good luck with what you're going to put out on the field in 2024.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Hannah's going to be joined with one of your players, Carl Williams, on the other side of this break. David Aranda, appreciate the time. We'll be back with much more right after this, live from Las Vegas.